How do you explain Jerry Jones's strategy with the CeeDee deal?
I can't explain the strategy. And first off, let me say this. I'm not mad at CeeDee Lamb for staying home.
No.
I'm just not. I get it. It's $17 million, but there's other receivers in the same category as you that double your salary that you're supposed to make this year. So when you look at that, I'm not giving you the benefit of the doubt as a team because you know the parameters, you know where we need to start, and you know where we need to get to. With that being said, I don't know what Jerry and them, I have no idea what Jerry and Steven and the rest of the people in Dallas are thinking about, because when you think about what CeeDee has done numbers-wise, okay, Justin Jefferson, Michael Thomas, Randy Moss, CeeDee Lamb. That's basically...
Well, you just said that. You just went there. You just put him in that conversation.
When you look at the first 4 years of one's career,
I'm with you.
There's the numbers that speak to it. Mm-hmm. You pay him. You don't even think about what it is because the parameters have already been set. The blueprint is there. Now, if you want to say, well, we want to give you 101 instead of 102, okay, cool. That's fine.
Yep.
If that's what you want to do. But we're going to start with Justin Jefferson, stop that. And then we're going to go from there. And if you don't want to meet my standards and where I want to be, then fine, I'll stay home. You figure it out with Brandon Cooks and whoever else you got on the roster into such due time. Because one of the things that I like is a guy like CeeDee Lamb has made some money. He's gotten some money. So it's not like he's going to starve to death, right? Now you say, well, he's missing out on so much money, Key, $17 million. True, but he's going to make a whole lot more money. What his strategy should be, and probably is, and I don't know, is he's at the last year of his contract. So accredited seasons toward free agency is very important. When I played, it was you needed 6 games to get a credited season. Now I think it dropped it down to like 3. As long as you are on the active roster and participating in 3 games, you get that accredited season. So he could sit tight for 14 games, come in with 3 games to go a la Joey Galloway, Seattle Seahawks, and then what you gonna do? You gonna eventually either trade him or pay him, if that's the case. He doesn't have to sit out the entire season at all. And at some point, I believe they'll get the deal done. I think at some point they'll get it done because when you got guys like St. Brown, Amon-Ra making 30, Tyreek Hill 30 plus, he's getting ready to renegotiate his deal. Then you got Justin Jefferson in the 30, A.J. Brown in the 30 club. I mean, there it is. It's right here. What is there to think about, Rachel?
I think before those guys set the market, the Cowboys should have gotten this done. I just don't understand what they are doing here. You need CeeDee Lamb on your team this season. You just do. And by the way, him missing training camp, it's not just lost money out of his pocket, it's lost time with the rest of the team. We've had guys who missed all of training camp. Nick Bosa did it last year, and he said it affected him a little bit in terms of especially the first month or 2 of the season. He was thinking too much out on the field because he didn't have that muscle memory. So they're costing themselves in all kinds of ways. We know they're gonna sign him. They could have gotten this done at the very beginning of the offseason and gotten a discount. Once Jefferson set the market, then all of a sudden, you've got CeeDee who's gonna wanna come in right under it, and we've seen this.
Under? I ain't coming in under.
Oh, you think CeeDee Lamb's coming in over Justin Jefferson?
Man, the last guy, who's the last guy? That's all I care about, is Justin Jefferson. His number starts here. This is where we start. I feel I'm better than him. Yeah. That's the bottom line.
He can make a case he's more important to the Cowboys than Jefferson is to his team, right?
You're 100%.
Right? So I get it. I would say if he came in slightly under, that's still a win for him. The point is that the Cowboys, and Skip, you know this better than anyone, they've done this over and over. They let a guy hold out, they let it go down to the wire, and they end up giving him money anyway. Just last season, Zach Martin held out for a new deal. He was eventually the 4th highest paid offensive guard in the entire NFL. That's how much money they ended up giving him. They could have just done that to beginning with. And Ezekiel Elliott is, of course, the most famous example. Walked away, held out, right, and had one of the largest running back contracts ever to be signed at the time. And you can talk about his value as that contract wore on. But the bottom line is they knew they were going to have to pay him, and they let him hold out anyway. I just don't understand the strategy.
So you did grow up in the Washington area as a fan of that team.
Yes.
That used to be called that name.
Yes.
That each of us, we can't let it go because we grew up with it.
Grew up watching it.
So your passion for that team matches my passion for my team.
Yes.
I started when I was 10 years of age because they just got born at that point. And yet, I'm here to tell you, right here, right now, this team and this owner is making it harder and harder for me to continue to root for this team, starting with down 27-0 in a home playoff game against the Green Bay Packers. I still have not recovered from that moment that Michael Irvin probably has not recovered from either, as you so beautifully paint the picture of.
It was nice hanging out with you.
It was. You had a good time that day because he had one of the worst times of his cowboy-loving life, along with me. And then the offseason came, and it went, and it got more and more painful by the day. And never has there ever been a more misleading quote that came out of one man's mouth than Jerry saying, "We're all in" at the early stages of the offseason. And they are all out. And they're making a lot of fans about to be all out on trying to root for this team because there's less and less to root for. So it's almost as if my Dallas Cowboys are operating with about half the salary cap of all the other teams, as if Roger Goodell has penalized Jerry for being Jerry, and you only have half the cap. That's how he operates, because I'm saying, wait, we went out and got Eric Kendricks, the immortal Eric Kendricks, for $3 million. And then we brought back what's left of Ezekiel Elliott for $2 million. And that's it, man. And I have to sit day after day and come out here and face you day after day after the Eagles go get him. And then they go get him, and then they go get him, and then they sign him and sign him and sign him and sign him and him and him. And they're all signed. Every Eagle, as you correctly point out daily to me, is signed, sealed, and delivered. They have no negotiation issues at all with anybody, and they have dramatically, through free agency and the draft, improved their football team.
On paper, yeah.
It's really good on paper, and I got it. It's on paper, but on paper right now, it looks way better than my team looks, because my team's starting not to look that much better than your young team, upcoming team with your young quarterback.
Promising,
right?
But you don't want who you want to be a Super Bowl contender to be promising.
You don't. Okay, I got you. But now, look, am I okay with Micah's deal being on the back burner? I'm okay with that, because I think Jerry's saying, show me just a little more if I'm going to make you the top paid defensive player in the history of this game. Just show me a little bit more, and then we'll figure that out. I'm okay with that. As you know, I'm okay with Dak's deal being completely off the stove right now. I'm okay with that. But CeeDee's deal is not only on the front burner right now, the pot has caught on fire and the smoke alarm is going off, and somewhere upstairs, Jerry's sitting in his office asleep, I guess. I think he's in his chair and he's napping, right? And this is beyond wrong, because it hurts my heart for CeeDee, because when you earn that money and the meter is running because all those receivers just keep signing and signing, you know, for all I know, Ayuk will sign today.
That's what I was going to say to you. There'll be at least 3 redos on contracts on veteran guys. Okay. Whether it's a Devontae Adams and a Tyreek Hill, they all getting ready to get new money. Yeah. And then there's a Brandon Ayuk that's in camp, but they can still trade him. People can pick up the phone and say, hey, we got 2 ones for you, 3 ones for you. And that comes along with a new deal that's going to be through the roof. Yeah. But maybe Jerry and them doesn't care. Okay, because the clock just ticks. Like, it won't get any better. It's not like, you know what, my strategy is I'm going to outweight everything. Outweight who for what? What are you trying to do? Are you going to outweight CeeDee and his representatives to the point that they finally crater and say, you know what, we'll take the 5th best wide receiver? Do you think they'll do that?
Do you think they're even offering the 5th best right now? Because that report from the Dallas Morning News, no substantial contract negotiations recently, blows my mind. And to your point about the offseason spending, the Cowboys are dead last this offseason in the NFL in offseason spending. And second to last So 29th in off-season spending, or wherever, sorry, 31st in off-season spending? I've got NBA head at the moment.
I understand.
That 150% has spent more than them. So the Pittsburgh Steelers, who are 31st, have spent 150% more than the Cowboys at 32.
Because I don't know any more than Kendricks and Zeke. I don't know. Help me out.
They probably got some street free agent types.
Okay, all right.
But,
great.
But whatever their strategy
and by the way, quick point of order, Michael Gallup, who he used to be a pretty good player, he just retired because he tore his knee up playing for the Dallas Cowboys. After he did get some money, he got a decent deal from Jerry. He tore his knee up, and he was never remotely the same, and he finally just hung him up.
Yeah.
Okay, my point is, I can't blame CeeDee. You can't go in there with that much money sitting on the table and even just sort of jog around.
Nobody goes and plays. I don't even think Ayuk is going to practice. He's there because he doesn't want to get fined or whatever the case is.
Because it's supposed to be, it's $100,000 a day by the CBA rules, and you're supposed to not be able to get it back when you sign your new deal. So again,
it's a little bit at the team's discretion, though.
Sure.
They can decide not to levy the fine. So if a guy's in a contract negotiation, right, like Ayuk, if he's in a contract negotiation, and if they are close, obviously there can be a little give on the team side. But the Cowboys don't seem to be interested in giving any of that. No. I guess, I mean, Key, when you're out there on the field and you've got a key guy who just isn't there, how much does that affect everyone? If the Cowboys have to take the field this season without CeeDee Lamb, I don't
believe they'll take the field without CeeDee.
But I mean, that's my point. There's no hope there, right? They can't do it.
No, they can't. He's the #1 offensive weapon outside the quarterback.
So what are they doing? What game do they think they're playing?
It takes two to tangle. So I don't know if Jerry is putting the right amount of money on the table. Because look, when you're negotiating with these NFL deals, there's when am I getting the money? How fast am I getting the money? How much of the money am I getting? How long is the contract? What incentives are in there? Where's the language? Where's the forfeiture language at that, is in this contract? Are we taking it out? Are we leaving it in? All of those sort of things. And they could have been in negotiations, 2 months ago, and that contract could still be the same, and they haven't moved the needle.
It doesn't matter. Whatever he wants, at this stage, you have to give him. And that has been, by the way, what we've seen with the Cowboys is they let these guys hold out and hold out, and they don't get their business done, and then they have to give them all that money. And in CeeDee Lamb's case, they're going to have to give it to him because, as you say, they cannot take the field without him.
They're going to have to give it to him. That's for sure.
So this just kind of reminds me, if you're in a poker game, right, and someone's got the winning hand and the other guy has a good hand but not the winning hand, you can sit there and put your chips in for as long as you want. You can sit there for rounds and rounds and rounds of it. The guy with the winning hand is still going to win. CeeDee Lamb is the guy with the winning hand.
I mean, unless you bluff the guy with the winning hand out of the pot, but there's no bluff here. I don't.
Everyone knows
all the advantages.
Everyone's cards are on the table here.
Yeah.
You could only bluff him if he was in his 3rd year and he was asking for a new deal.
Yeah.
You can't bluff him at the end of the deal.
You can't.
It just, I don't know what they do. And man, to be honest with you, I have no idea. I have zero idea.
All right, this is all I can guess. Think about what Jerry went through first with Dak. He dragged his feet, and it went on and on and on to the 11th hour, and finally, Jerry caved in and gave Dak his money, which was really good money at the time. In fact, it was big. It was top line money. And then they did a press conference together, and Jerry looked down the table at him, and basically, I'll just paraphrase it, but he just said, you got me. You got me. And it wasn't said lovingly to me because I've never felt much closeness between Jerry and Dak the way I felt between Jerry and Zeke, Jerry and other players like Michael in the past. Dak's always kind of stiff-armed Jerry and kind of kept him at arm's length, which is fine. I respect that. But the point was, then Jerry has to turn right around in the Zeke negotiation. We talk about the Cabo, and so he goes and holds out in Cabo and misses camp. And then Jerry caves in. They just broke in camp, I believe. They were coming back to Dallas. And back comes Zeke from Cabo and becomes the highest paid running back and immediately hits the running back wall and is never quite the same. You say, well, look at these numbers. They weren't what he was. He was the dominant running back in the game for 3 years. And then from that point forward, it's just slowly dwindled.
But a month in Cabo is not going to change his career.
Okay, I'm not saying it was just Cabo, but it's just so ironic that I know Jerry's looking back at it saying, well, I caved in there and I caved in there and it bit me and it bit me. Maybe I shouldn't cave in, but there's no light at the end of the tunnel.
There's no exit strategy from that. If you take that attitude, there is no exit strategy.
No,
but like Rachel said a little while ago, even if he took a little bit less, and I'm talking whatever, $500,000, $1 million less than what Justin Jefferson, who's the top paid, guaranteed money guy right now, he just took a little bit less. That's still more than what you would have paid him if you'd have done the deal 6 months ago or whatever the case is. Still more. So he still, in his minds, would be overpaying. Now that you've gotten to the point of July, heading into August, you're getting ready to overpay. Because as soon as what happens in these situations is they're going to get out on the field, and Dak Prescott's going to start throwing balls, and they're going to be watching the film, and they're going to say to themselves, damn, if we had CeeDee in that position, that's all they're going to do. And then they're going to pick up the phone. This is what happens.
Okay.
They did the same thing with Emmitt Smith. They lost those 2 games with them running backs. They said, we ain't going nowhere, man. We got to pay Emmitt. What the hell are we doing?
Yeah.
And that's what happens.
And I thought Emmitt took a little less money, but go ahead.
No, I was just saying, you don't have to wait that long. You don't have to wait till you're 2 games without him. Everyone knows what's going to happen if you take the field without CeeDee Lamb.
All Emmitt did was come in and from that point on become the league MVP for the year and then the Super Bowl MVP. So that worked, right? Okay. What do I keep telling you about CeeDee? The way I view my football team is I got one baller on my football team I really trust and believe in and count on, and that's 88. And he is living up to that big number on his back. And it's a big target on his back.
The start of the season, he was okay.
Yeah.
And then they started moving him around, putting him in different spots, different positions. And he proved that he could play multiple spots.
Remember after San Francisco and Dak threw 3 picks, he complained publicly, and all of a sudden, life changed.
Yeah, because they started using him a certain way.
Okay. So what was the flashpoint moment of being down 27-0 in the first half to Green Bay in the playoff game? It was Dak versus CeeDee. And I'm like, what are they doing? Remember, they came off the field on the first 3rd down of the game. It was 3rd and 5-ish. Right. Remember? And they're just not on the same page. And Dak said something to CeeDee, which CeeDee did not like. And Michael said, that's on. He was blaming CeeDee. He said, you just got to take it from the quarterback.
Michael's position is you never say anything to the quarterback. My position is blank the quarterback. Because if I drop the ball, guess what? They're going to blame me. So I'm not like Michael when it comes to, I don't give a damn. I'm not like Michael when it comes to quarterbacks. I understand they're sensitive.
Okay, but remember who Michael had as his quarterback.
I get all that.
He had a Hall of Famer, and so it's just like, don't mess with him. Just because he knows he's going to get the sugar from
but Michael had a Hall of Famer, unlike a whole bunch of other receivers that didn't have Hall of Famers. So in the end, you want to, you want to get football. CeeDee Lamb wanted to contribute to help the team win the damn game.
So CeeDee barks back, and then CeeDee was so angered by Dak's response back to him, he went and sat on the end of the bench to the point that Mike McCarthy thought he had to leave his post, bump on the log post that he has on the sideline, and march all the way to the end of the bench to try to talk him up out of it. Yeah. Remember this?
Yeah, I do.
So my point to you is, I need those two getting on the same page. And as trite as it sounds, as cliched as it sounds, I needed CeeDee and Dak for opening day of training camp to start to rebuild and to grow together. And to the problem at San Francisco when they lost 42-10 is they were not on the same page.
Yeah, I don't know why they won't get him in camp.
Okay, so you need your baller in camp to start rebuilding chemistry with the quarterback. And wait, you're just willingly saying, no, just stay home. Just stay home. For how long? I don't know. I hope you're right that 2 weeks from now, he's there. I hope you're right, but it doesn't smell like that to me because it's not Jerry's way. Jerry's way would just to leave him home through training camp.
The difference with him and other players that have held out, the world, the press, the fan base is pushing for him to be signed.
Yeah.
Opposed to, I don't want to pay a running back this type of money.
That's
I don't know. I don't want to do this with
that's
Michael
true.
Parsons. Nobody is screaming Michael Parsons is supposed to be paid. They're saying he should be able to wait. Nobody's screaming for Dak Prescott to be paid.
They're not
But
screaming.
a lot of people are jumping up and down for CeeDee to be paid. That pressure will eventually come to bear as they go take the field, whenever days are, and Dak's throwing the ball to other people that it don't look so good, they'll revisit the opportunity to go pay CeeDee.
In fact, that's a great
Why
point.
need
Go ahead.
that? How could you need that? How do you not know, after everything you've watched this man do, that 2 weeks onto the field in training camp, it'll look like someone's missing? You shouldn't need any of this. I mean,
I don't know what to tell you, Rachel.
like you, a 10-year-old young Cowboy fan
was.
knows this.
I do.
Right?
Yeah.
And so how do they not know?
I also know Jerry really well, and he can be stubborn to a fault. And to your point, there's no dissent out there about CeeDee. Like, nobody is saying, I haven't heard one pundit or critic say, how can you pay a receiver? He hasn't proven. No, nobody's saying that.
They're not going to do that.
As I said, there's a 10-year-old in Dallas somewhere today.
That is correct.
Who knows this? How does the
they know
Cowboys
that.
brass not
and
know
so the point is, Jerry is hearing nothing but sign him, sign him, sign him. And you know how Jerry gets. Nah, I'm Jerry Jones. I'm not going to bow to public pressure, right?
He'll sign him. Yeah, it's just
you're
day
right.
one.
Thanks for watching, Undisputed fans. Do you want more highlights from the show? Make sure to click that subscribe button for all the exclusive content from Undisputed.